Pickle, let's get to some headlines. Let's start with, I guess, there's a bit of breaking news.
Yeah.
Coming down today out of Rice. Our friends down there, the Rice Owls, have acquired a transfer. And it is a relatively notable one. It is a former blue chip quarterback. It is former Nebraska quarterback and former Louisville quarterback Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey has transferred to Rice. Texas football, Shahan J. Rogers, first reported by our friend Sam Kahn at The Athletic. This guy played for Nebraska last year. I believe he... So it was a strange situation with him. He was a big-time playmaker in high school and was a relatively blue-chip guy. He's out of Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
We recognize the last name. We'll get to that in a moment. Blue-chip guy. Signs with Louisville before going into the transfer portal again. And he goes in the transfer portal, and he played last season at Nebraska.
Which, that was all just craziness anyway. Nebraska, they didn't know if they were going to play football until...
Yeah, exactly. It was all strange. So he was all over the place. He's now landed... He's back in the transfer portal. He has now landed at Rice, where he will be in the competition for the head coaching, or for the starting quarterback job. He started, I believe, 7 games for Nebraska last year. And... this is he started 2 games for them last year against Penn State and Illinois. He is a decent runner. He is a decent thrower.
He's got good size on him.
He's a blue chip guy. He's a blue chip prospect that is one of those guys that I don't want to say that you get him at a discount, because that's like but this is the kind of guy that, with all due respect to our friends at Rice, this is the kind of recruits in the portal that they need to haul in. They are almost certainly not going to sign a guy who is going to choose them over Louisville or Nebraska from the beginning, from the jump, right? Let's be real about that. Maybe there are some guys that happens, but we talked with Alex Brown, their director of recruiting, a few weeks ago, and he mentioned, he's like, look, the plain simple fact of the matter is that, like, we got to identify the people who can qualify, and then at that point, we got to beat out everybody else for him, and it's just a difficult charge.
And clearly, he's good in the classroom. Rice is doing that.
Right, and here's a guy who has now gone through. He went to Louisville. He went to Nebraska. He is now out of Nebraska, and that once he's on the market, if he still fits into your academic standards, that's a guy you should go and get.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Again, the word discount is probably not fair to it, because he's still a really good player. But he's a guy that is looking for another chance, and if Rice can offer him another chance, this is a win-win potentially for everybody. Of note, you may know the last name McCaffrey. McCaffrey is the brother of former Heisman finalist Christian McCaffrey, who played at Stanford, a star at running back at Stanford, whose offensive coordinator was Mike Bloomgren. There you go.
Here's where it all comes together.
He was ranked the number 257 player in the nation and the number 1 player in Colorado in the class of 2019. So, it is a very, very roundabout way to say Rice has got another guy who's going to compete with Giovanni Johnson and Wiley Green. And then they've also got a transfer from Weber State and Jake Constantine. So,
and, good for him, too. He gets to get out of Nebraska and move down to a city.
You know who's very mad you said that?
My girl, Erin Hardigan.
Very mad. Some high school news and notes. Hugh at Midway, of course, opened up recently with Jeff Hulme leaving Hugh at Midway to go take over at Mansfield Legacy. They have now made a hire. It's coming down, broken by our friend David Smoke at Sikkim365.com. Sikkim365.com. I want to make sure I credit him correctly. Where they have made their hire. They have hired Waco Connolly head coach Shane Anderson. Shane Anderson was on the Midway staff at some point under Terry Gamble. And then, and I believe 2013, 2014, he was there as their defensive coordinator before he goes over and takes the job at Waco Connolly. He was there for 6 years with 36-30. Most notably, if you go back a couple of years ago, you remember they had their first undefeated season since 1990, undefeated regular season since 1990. A guy who obviously knows what he's doing, but this has those ripple effects, of course, that now Hugh Midway's closed, but Waco Connolly's open. So we're now Waco Connolly. I would, again, look, and I say this all the time, I would say that you should probably look internally for Waco Connolly at this point.
Yes.
I mean, it's June 14th, guys. I mean, you've got to hire somebody quickly, and the idea of the coaches generally don't like to pick up and move right now.
Right.
I would say look internal. But anyway, there is the news out of Midway.
Well, and that made him easy to take the Midway job because you're not having to move very far there.
Yes.
So it's like that's a crosstown thing. I'm also curious to see if he brings Connolly coaches along with him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the staff looks like.
All of Waco might be just doing this for a second.
Maybe a little bit of flux there.
Yep.
At Connolly. So, but Shane Anderson, the new head coach at Hugh Midway. Also, that will not be in the magazine, by the way.
Any of these coaching changes after last week will not be in the magazine.
And Matt Stepp has teased another thing on Twitter. I can't go into any further details about it because it's not my place to say, but there could be some movement coming down tonight that would be rather seismic. So keep an eye on TexasFootball.com. That's the most tease that I can give you there.
Yes. It's still step bump season.
It still is. So the air raid sirens are still going off. Okay. Elsewhere, there is one thing I want to call to your attention that may be flying under your radar is a meeting. Let's talk meetings.
Yeah.
Meetings. Tomorrow, June 15th, the UIL Legislative Council is set to convene.
Now, why is that important?
Well, I believe this is their regular meeting. This is nothing. They're not calling for an emergency, but they are meeting. And if you've never seen a legislative council meeting, it's pretty boring. They go
Just
through
riveting information.
They go through a lot of proposals that are given to them, and they have different committees. There's a music committee, and there's an academics committee, and stuff like that. We, of course, focused on football, but there's all these other different committees that have to meet that the UIL oversees. In the athletics, there are two things that I would expect on the athletic side and on the football side. I would expect that there are two things that could come up tomorrow. One of them I know is on the agenda is a new piece of business to ask about the use of technology on the sideline, a particular type of technology wherein the quarterback or the running back can wear like what looks like a wristwatch. Think of it like an Apple Watch. Yeah. And the coach can kind of signal in on an iPad to him as opposed to saying, signaling in the call and then they look at the wristband and stuff like that, right? They do the cards and stuff like that. That is something that is going to be, will they allow that? I think they're going to debate it. My initial reaction is that if the proposal is just now coming up to the Legislative Council, they'll probably let this thing cook for at least a year, so I would not anticipate that to be in place for 2021. The other one that will be of note is to keep an eye on the Legislative Council because they will probably talk about and decide a course of action on the broadcast ban.
Which is huge.
Of course, you remember last year they had a 1-year lift of the broadcast ban to allow fans to, or allow the broadcast of Friday night Texas high school football games. We will see what goes on there. And yeah, we'll find out what happens. I don't have a read on the situation. My thought is that big schools will probably say yeah, sure, and small schools will probably say no.
Yeah.
But if it goes up to a vote, there are more small schools than big schools, and it would fail. So I think my thought, this is my read on the situation. I don't have any inside information. My reaction would be I would look for something in the middle, something where it's not like every game is available to be streamed, that they leave it up maybe to local control, and that if Pickle High School is playing Tepper High School, both Pickle and Tepper High School have to agree to let the game be broadcast.
Yes.
That was not the case, last year was kind of like a a free-for-all.
It also wouldn't surprise. I wonder, and again, this is just complete speculation, but I wonder if something goes into it of, like maybe students can be the ones to broadcast it, but maybe not other media companies or something. That wouldn't surprise me because that gives the media kids, a chance to get out there and get some experience. So I could see that going that way. But again, that's complete speculation.
Most certainly. Okay. And finally, let's wrap up the headlines, as we usually do on Mondays in the summer, talking about some 7-on-7.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Pickle, the state 7-on-7 tournament starts a week from Thursday.
Yep.
A week from Thursday in College Station. So teams are running out of time to qualify.
D1 and D2 are done. Or D2 and D3 are done.
D2 and D3 are done. There's still a couple spots up for grabs in Division 1. But there was some action this week, and you can see TexasFootball.com, where we are the official site for State 7-on-7, at the Austin Westlake SQT. Cedar Park and Bridgeland have qualified, going through their maximum bears for Austin, or at the Austin Westlake SQT. A&M Consolidated SQT. A&M Consolidated wins their own tournament, and Temple is through to the state tournament. A&M Consolidated, one of the most decorated 7-on-7 programs in the state, so not a surprise to see them back there. Always a threat to win it. They have a very good 7-on-7 program,
and not far travel time for them.
No, they get home field advantage.
They get home field advantage.
Arlington Lamar SQT, 3 qualifiers: Richardson, Pierce, Prosper, and DeSoto are through to the state tournament. Staying in Division 1, Dickinson SQT, it was Richmond, Foster, and Umballa Tascasita that punched their ticket to College Station. Tyler SQT out east, it was Nacogdoches beating North Forney in overtime to get that spot, and Wiley East edges out Longview in the state qualifying round to make it to College Station. At the Dayton SQT, Port Neches, Groves, and Beaumont Westbrook are through to College Station. At the River City SQT, it was... I don't know. We don't have it listed on TexasFootball.com. Matt Sepp, you're fired. He's not fired. Don't call him. He's not available.
Please don't fire him.
Corpus Christi SQT. It was Georgetown, Corpus Christi. There was a little bit of problems at the Georgetown SQT. I believe they thought that they were going to have 3 spots, and there's only 2. So there's 3 teams for 2 spots. They're going to have to sort it all. I think they're going to play like a round-robin type thing to decide those 2. Georgetown, Corpus Christi, Carroll, and Edinburgh North. So keep an eye on that. We'll have more updates on that.
Another quick note that was sent yesterday, South Lake Carroll had qualified 3 weeks ago, and they have dropped now. So I wonder maybe if that kind of solves itself.
Yeah,
South Lake.
South Lake. Oh no, I believe that in the SQT that they qualified in, the team that they beat in the state qual, I believe gets in. Azel, I believe that's correct. And so, South Lake Carroll will not be participating. I think they said just basically fatigue and injuries and stuff like that.
And then people missing 4 other camps, which you could assume would maybe be around the quarterback position. But
at the Division 2, down in Division 2 at the Jim Ned SQT, it was Jim Ned winning their own tournament as well as Brownwood there, making it to College Station. Welcome back. Cuero SQT. It was Cuero and Lavernia who are through, or rather, it was Cuero winning their tournament to make it to the tournament, or make the College Station. The Salina SQT, Salina and Graham, another perennial power in the SQT, or in the
shout out Brett Homan.
Yeah, perennial power in 7-on-7. They are through. And down in Division 3, the Abilene SQT, Crane and Albany are through. At the Wascom SQT out east, it was Wascom and Dangerfield who are through. At the Colmsmeal SQT, it was Garrison and Corrigan Camden who qualified. You can see all of the qualifiers and what it looks like at TexasFootball.com. And of course, you guys made the announcement last week.
Yes.
Last week that the state tournament, large portions of the state tournament will be broadcast for free, thanks to our friends at the Texas Army National Guard at Dave Campbell's Texan Live, TexanLive.com. You can, if you've never seen the state 7-on-7 tournament, well, guess what? You got no darn excuse now. Go to TexanLive.com and you can watch the state 7-on-7 tournament for free. Thanks to our friends at the Texas Army National Guard, June 24th through June 26th, exclusively on TexanLive.com at Dave Campbell's Texan Live. So how about all that?
Yeah, super excited.
That was very exciting.
And man, I tell you what, like they were. So I guess peeling back the curtain a little bit, we're gonna have a hefty number of games on there too. Like I said, there's no way that we can. I said it last week. There's no way we can broadcast all of them, but it'll be a good number of games because we'll have 2 fields going at once. So it's upwards.
You're gonna have a lot. You're gonna have a lot of games. If you think, I mean, if you've never been to the state tournament, there are games going on constantly on every field, basically, and so.
And they're half fields.
And so we've identified the fields, and so there will be a lot of 7-on-7 to watch at TexanLive.com. So make sure you check that out.